walk in them shoes. I took 2 steps and said whoop, and just like I fell. Y'all, I felt so ugly. She just starts losing all of her classiness all out the window. 5'9", my ass. You ain't no 5'9". Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. So for those of you wondering why today's story time is up on a Wednesday, that is because in my last story time I asked you guys to please like the video, and if you guys got it to 20,000 likes, that today's video would be early and I would upload a day early. You guys came through. Thank you so much for all of the love on my last story time. I really appreciate it. You guys got it over 20,000 likes, so I really appreciate it. So as a thank you, I am coming at you a day early with story time. Okay, so before we get into this video, I just want to let you guys know that I know my audio is really off right now because there's like a lot of echoing going on, and I had a mic, didn't work with my camera, so I ordered another one, so hopefully it's compatible, so just bear with me. It should be on its way. It should be here within the next few days, so I'm so sorry if the audio is all messed up. Just bear with me, okay? As you guys can tell, this will be part 2 to my prom story time. I'm so excited to get into it. Now, I do want to preface this story time. I feel like it's kind of stupid that I have to, but I feel like I should, just in case, because I know that some people will, I don't know, be kind of judgy about how I handle the situation as my 17-year-old self. But one, if you guys have never been in this situation, then you can't really say how you would handle it because you've never been in it, or you guys would have handled it differently. I don't know. The point being is that this was like almost 10 years ago, so like what had happened is what had happened, and my decision was my decision, and it's still cringy AF. I'm still really embarrassed about it. So let's go ahead and get into it. As usual, before we get into today's story time, today's gorgeous glamour shot is my beautiful Glamazon Kiana. Kiana sent me her Glamazon shot on my Twitter. You guys can send in your Glamazon shot to my Twitter or my Instagram. I will leave my details down in my description box below so you guys can follow me and send me your Glamazon shot. I pick them randomly whenever I'm filming, so it just may be you next time. Thank you so much, Kiana, for all of your love and support. You guys know that I would not be here without you, and I could not do what I love without you guys, so thank you from the bottom of my heart. Now let's get part 2 of this story time and spill the tea. If you guys have not seen part 1, pause this video. Do not watch it until you see part 1 so that everything makes sense. But we are going to be taking off right where we left off in part 1. So as of right now, we are on our way to Olive Garden. Chris, like I said, decided to dip, and he peaced out and was like, no, I'm not taking her. I forgot to let you guys know that he was matching Alicia. They had made these plans super last minute, and Robert had told him what Alicia was wearing. So he had a regular black and white suit, and he just like put on a yellow bow tie. So when he was walking off and he was like cussing her out, and they were like fighting, he was like, no, I'm not about this life, and he was like, I'm not taking her, I don't want to go with her, I want nothing to do with her. He like took off his bow tie. He was just going to prom in a regular black and white suit, and he had like unbuttoned a few buttons at the top, and he called it a day. It was that kind of dramatic, alright? So he storms off, he takes off. I'm so embarrassed, and I'm like I said, I was kind of like, I was in the middle with my feelings, since I was like, you know, I'm so embarrassed by how you're acting, girl, but like, she was like, you just don't understand it because you don't have to go through it. So after that, we all piled into Robert's mom's SUV, and we are now on our way to Olive Garden, and that's where we're going to be having our pre-prom dinner, and all of our friends are going to be meeting us there. Like I said, it was like a group of like 15 or 16 of us. So we get to Olive Garden, and it is packed. We were not the only ones going there before prom, obviously. So like, it was so packed. I want to say like 9 or 10 of our friends were already there, okay? When I say our friends, I'm mostly meaning like Robert's friends that I knew of, but I didn't like know them. Now, when I walked up, I immediately felt like tense, and I looked around the table and I saw like all of Robert's friends, and then their dates were there. I didn't really particularly have like enemies at this school, but I did have girls that just like didn't fucks with me, and I didn't fucks with them, you know what I'm saying? 2 of them in particular were there. One of them was, y'all remember Drew, right? Drew was like my Spanish high school crush, and like I was gonna get with him, and then I ended up getting with Robert, like that whole deal. I remember how I exchanged words with his girlfriend in the bathroom during my state testing. Okay, one of her best friends was there. She did not like me for obvious reasons. Another one of the girls was like, Y'all remember the guy that like I haven't told y'all about yet, but like I kind of gave y'all a synopsis and he lied to me. It was like right before I got with Robert. I broke up with him and ended up getting with Robert, okay? It was like one of his female friends. So like both of those girls did not like me, and I had an idea as to why. So the minute that I walked up to that table, there was so much tension because like I immediately like saw those two girls and I was like, shit and shit. It's whatever, it's fine. I'm not looking for drama. I'm just here to have a good time. I'm here with my mans and my best friend, and I just want to enjoy prom. Like I'm finally out, like I'm finally experiencing my first like high school dance. Like I'm not about to let anybody ruin this, not even the whole thing between Alicia and Chris. Okay, not even that. So I say hi to everybody. Hey, how's everyone doing? Oh my god, you guys look so great. Take my seat. Everything's fine, okay? It's Robert, me, Alicia, and then like one of Robert's friends, and then the date, and so it went around like that, right? So we were towards the end of the table. The girls that didn't particularly like me, they were like towards the other end of the table, so they weren't like a part of our half, okay? I don't know if these girls were like friends or if they just happened to sit next to each other. I don't know, but they were sitting next to each other, and they were towards the other end of the table on the opposite side, like facing me, right? So we were just like having our own conversation, just shooting the shit. Robert's just like, you know, talking to his friend. I'm talking to Alicia. She's still going off about Chris. Everything's starting to like chill out and we're having a lot of fun. I'm like turning towards Alicia because she's on my left. I'm turning towards her and I'm talking to her. And like, so she's facing this way and she keeps like looking. Alicia was one of those girls that like, if you look at her for too long, she does one of these. One of those, okay? So I started seeing her, you know, jerk her neck and she's like, boo. Immediately, you guys, like my heart sank and I was like, god damn it. I didn't even have to look. I didn't even have to like look over there. I knew exactly who she was looking at. It was the two girls that didn't like me, okay? Like there's no other person over there that Alicia would be doing that to. And now keep in mind, I did not tell Alicia about those girls, like at all, because it really wasn't that big of a deal. But I just had a feeling that like based on where they were sitting and where Alicia was looking, it was probably them. She's like, do you know those girls? And I just looked at her, I was like, not really. I was like, but they don't like me. I was like, so stop making faces. I'm not the one making faces. They're the ones making faces. And I was like, Alicia, stop, please. I was like, I really don't want drama right now. Like, I'm just trying to chill. She like looked over at me and she's like, I'm trying to enjoy my food right now. And I would rather not have some bitch looking at me in my face all sideways. She starts talking all loud to like make sure that they hear her. And I was like, Alicia, please. Don't do it. She's like, fine, I'll just ignore it. She's like, they're childish ass behavior, fine. So she like kept eating, right? I didn't even look over there because I don't want any problems. Not tonight, okay? Like I'm trying to enjoy myself and I'm not about to let anybody ruin that for me. Will and Sandra were like across the table from us, like directly across, and so myself, Alicia, and Sandra started having like our own conversation right amongst each other, and the boys were talking. Out of nowhere, I just hear a girl say, oh, she's just gonna sit up here and ignore me. I stopped talking, but I still like did not look over there because obviously I'm not doing shit, so like she couldn't possibly be talking about me, so whatever. Alicia like looks up and I was like, is it them? And she was like, yeah. She was like, I'm sorry. She was like, are you referring to me? No, I don't even know you. And Alicia was like, well, I can't tell by the way you've been staring at me this entire time. She was like, no, I was talking to Nikki. I finally look over there and I'm like, I'm sorry, what? She goes, I know you heard me. Here we go. Obviously, I didn't hear you. I was like, so what is it? What did I miss? She's like, no, I just had a question. And I was like, okay, what? And she was like, you're here with Robert? And like Robert's sitting right here, so he like looks over at her like, duh bitch. And so I was like, yeah. And I was like, we're together. And she was like, oh my god. And she like looked over at the other girl. She's like, that's so funny because I could have sworn that you were with our friend so and so. And she was talking about the guy that I dated for 2 weeks before Robert. By this point, like I said, Robert and I had gotten together in February. It was already May. So like, what the hell are you talking about? Some old crackly ass news. Like, what are you talking about? I was like, oh, I'm sorry you're mistaken, but that hasn't been a thing in over 3 months. So I'm not too sure why you would think that we were still together. I just think it's funny. And I was like, okay. And so like, I knew that she was like trying to reel me into an argument, but I was like, what am I gonna argue with you about? Like, whatever. I don't care if you don't agree with the fact that I broke up with your little funky ass friend for lying to me and getting suspended over some stupid shit that I wanted nothing to do with. It's none of your business. So her and her friends start laughing or whatever, and like they're just like doing the most. So I was like, whatever. Robert like leaned over to me and he was like, are you alright? And I was like, I'm fine. I was like, but I want to leave. I was like, I don't even want to be here. Like, I don't want my night ruined, because if I stay here and they keep talking shit, then I'm gonna get into a fight, Alicia's gonna get into a fight, and then like the whole night will be ruined. So can we please leave? We were already towards the tail end of our meal anyway, so we were gonna get ready to leave within the next few minutes. So all we were waiting on was the check, okay? So the waiter comes around and he was like, you know, am I splitting up the checks? Obviously we're like, yeah. So Alicia's dad had given her money just in case she needed it, and she was gonna use that to pay for her own food since she didn't have a date all of a sudden. Robert and I got our own check, right? So finally the waiter comes around, passes around everyone's check. The waiter hands it over to Robert. And Robert opens it, he pulls out some cash and he puts it into the little wallet and he passes it to me. I didn't know what else to do, so like I grabbed it like, you want me to look at the numbers? You want me to verify your math? Like, what are you passing this to me for, right? Before I could even open it, Alicia grabbed it and she was like, what the hell, Nikki? And she opened the book. I want to say that together, like both of our meals and drinks and stuff were like around 30 bucks. And this boy had put a 10 and a 5 up in there, okay? So 15 bucks altogether. And I'm like, I looked at the total and looked at the cash and she was like, girl, I think he's wanting you to pay your half. What? You guys, I was completely caught off guard. Completely. I guess I just assumed that my prom date would like pay for my meal for prom. This boy wanted me to pay half. To avoid a awkward situation, I just decided to just like go ahead and pay my own half. I grabbed my clutch off the table and I like open it. Here goes Alicia again. And she was like, Nikki, no. She like snatched it. She was like, you are not paying for your own prom meal. She was like, what the hell are you doing? And I was like, Alicia, I feel like my best friend just kept going off. Like she was just like not about that life. She could not stand the people. She was not like you, Robert. I was like, Alicia, if you don't stop going off about everything. And she was like, Nikki, she was like, okay, first of all, she was like, I'm not even trying to be difficult right now. She was like, I just feel like this is really dumb. She was like, he should pay for your meal. Like he's your date. And I was like, okay, I get that you feel that way, but what do you want me to do? You want me to yell at him in front of everybody and like embarrass him and myself? I was like, whatever. Like, I don't even want to deal with it. Like, let me just pay it. She like starts raising her voice and she was like, Nikki, you are not paying for your own prom meal, okay? She's like, you're not gonna do it. I'm sorry. Like, I can't allow that to happen. Why are you doing this to me, girl? Why? I looked past me into Robert. She's like, you know what? I got you, Nikki. And I was like, no. I was like, I don't need you paying for my food. And I don't need my best friend paying for her own food for prom. So I will pay for it since your boyfriend doesn't want to. And I was like, oh my God. I could feel myself turning red. And Robert just sat there and like he had nothing to say. And he was like, yeah, like, pay for her shit. Like, I'm not paying for it. On one side, I have my boyfriend that doesn't want to pay for my food. And on the other side, I have my best friend that wants to pay for my food because she doesn't want me to pay for my own food. So like, oh my God, get me out of here. Please just like let this end. Alicia grabs another 20 out of her purse and she like sticks it in the wallet. She like slams it on the table and she just like kept shaking her head. She's like, this is fucking bullshit. Before we left Olive Garden, Alicia and I went to the bathroom together. And while we were in there, I was like, please, just like don't have an attitude with Robert all night. And she was like, Nikki, and she just like kept going off. She was like, that's a bunch of bullshit. Like, how embarrassing. Like, he should not have handed you that shit. And I get it because I felt the same way. I was like, this is prom. Like, I thought that this is how it went. Like, I'm so confused. I'm so embarrassed. Like, I was just like not prepared for that and I just didn't see it coming. And that's why I'm so mad, because he embarrassed you and that's ridiculous and like how cheap of him, you know what I'm saying? She was like, I'm not trying to be a problem. I'm really not. She was like, but all these people that you're going to school with now, she's like, they're fucking weird. It was like the realest shit that she had ever said, and she was like, they're just fucking weird. Like, they're weird and I don't like them and like I don't know what the hell is going on. She's my best friend, and Alicia, she went off all the time, but she was a really good person. Sorry, because she's like, if I've been like embarrassing the shit out of you, she's like, I'm sorry, girl. She was like, but I just don't like you being treated that way. And then y'all lied to me about homeboy's height. So we squashed everything in the bathroom. So when we came out, Alicia was like refreshed and renewed and was like, you know what, I'm not gonna have an attitude with nobody. It is what it is. She was like, I wanna have a good time with you. You're my best friend and I just wanna enjoy prom, so let's go enjoy prom. Our prom was at a venue and it was just like this huge building and it had 2 stories. Our prom theme was like Arabian Nights or something like that. Definitely didn't wear anything close to that, but anyways, so we get to prom and like there's so many people in the street. So Robert's mom can't even pull all the way up to the front of the venue. So she drops us off at the corner and like all of the kids from our school are just like walking towards this building and like they're all up in the street. We're walking down the sidewalk towards the venue and the venue's coming up on the right hand side. And like the street is on our left and this limo pulls up and all of these girls get out. One of them, you guys, she was so gorgeous. Honestly, she really was. I like had seen her at school. I always thought that she was so pretty. And she like stepped out of the limo and like her and her friends had this badass white limo. And she stepped out of the limo and she had like this super long flowy dress and it matched the Arabian Nights theme of our prom. And you guys, it looked so good. Like honestly, she looked amazing, right? So she comes out of the limo and I'm like, oh my God. And like her dress was so pretty. Like I wish I could explain it. And so I like tapped Alicia and I was like, girl, look at her dress. And Alicia looked over, she was like, damn. She was like, damn. She was like, she's killing it. She was like, what are we doing? And immediately Alicia and I like start regretting our prom dress decision that fast because she was slaying it. Okay, like she looked so good. She had looked at me and she was like, girl, what are we doing? She like stopped and like looked over at Robert. She like cocked her head like, what the fuck? And so I looked up at Robert and Robert is like staring at this girl. You know what? I can't even blame him because like she's freaking gorgeous and she looks so good, right? But then it got to a point where like he wouldn't stop staring at her. Like he was still walking and like he would not take his eyes off of her. And I was like, oh, hey. You could not seriously be sitting up here checking out this other female for more than 2 seconds and think that nobody else is gonna notice, especially me. Like, what the fuck? You can't at least be a little bit more discreet about it. Like, I even know how to check out dudes in front of you without you noticing. Like, are you dumb? Going into prom, I just felt super insecure. I like felt like I felt like I didn't pick the right date. I just felt like prom wasn't going the way that I had always dreamt that it would go. We walk into prom and like I said, it was like a 2-story building and they had it decorated so cute and they had like this huge DJ booth and this huge dance floor. It really did look like a club. And then upstairs they had like this whole area set up for you to take your prom pictures, you know? So the first thing that we did when we walked into prom was go snag us a table because it was first come first serve. So if you didn't get yourself a spot, you were gonna be like standing the whole time. So I looked over at Robert and I was like, hey, before everyone gets here and that line gets too long, why don't we just go get our prom pictures taken now before we get like all sweaty or whatever? Yeah, babe, let's do that. He was like, but can I just like chill for a few minutes? And I was like, yeah. I was like, yeah, you know, we can wait. I was like, I just don't want it to get too long. He was like, no, it'll be fine. And so like, he just kind of like, meh, you know, whatever. He just continued sitting there and Alicia, I could tell Alicia was like not trying to take me away from my date. So she was like kind of sitting there, but she like started dancing in her seat. And like, you could tell that she wanted to go out on the dance floor so bad, but she didn't want to be like, Nikki, let's go. And then leave Robert there, right? So she and I are like dancing in our seats and like the music is so good and like everyone's out on the dance floor and I just keep looking at Robert like, okay, are you ready? Are you ready? And he just like wanted to chill and he was like, hey, can we just chill here for a minute or whatever? And some of his other guy friends came and sat down next to him and he was talking to them and like he was more, you know, he wanted to like have conversation and he didn't really want to dance. So I just keep looking at Robert and keep looking at him like, hey, you wanna go do what people do at prom? You wanna go dance? Alicia like grabbed my arm and she goes, Robert, we're gonna go dance. And Robert was like, all right, you guys have fun. You guys, like at that point, I was like, I just don't feel like he wants to be here with me. Like, I just don't feel like he wants to be here, period. And so my feelings started getting hurt. Like, why did you even ask me to prom? Why did I work so hard with my mom to even be here if like, you don't want to be here. Like, I don't want to force you to be here with me. Like, what the hell? And Alicia, I guess, could feel that. She's like, girl, don't worry about it. She was like, do not pay attention to that. Let's go. So she grabs me, she pulls me out on the dance floor, and we start dancing. I end up having so much fun, you guys, and I literally spent most of my prom dancing with Alicia. I don't know if it was just because he didn't want to be there with me. I don't know if he just didn't want to be there, period. I have no idea, but he spent most of his time at those tables while I was out there dancing on the dance floor. And then I remember like dancing or whatever, and I like looked up on the balcony again, and I told Alicia, I was like, maybe I should ask Robert to like come upstairs with me so we can get our prom pictures taken before it gets too late. And as my best friend, she just grabbed me and she was like, Nikki, he doesn't want to. At this point, you guys, like, I just felt like, you know what, you're right, you're absolutely right. Up until this point, it has been like pulling teeth with him, so like I'm not even gonna ask. So I never got like the formal prom photos taken because my date sucked ass. Fast forward, and it was almost time for us to meet Robert's mom outside. So I had had the time of my life with all of my girlfriends and my best friend. So Robert's mom drives us across town and drops us off at Dave & Buster's. And I want to say that we were only there, it couldn't have been more than like an hour and a half. Like, we really were not there that long. So most of my time at Dave & Buster's was like playing a few games and hanging out with the girls, right? So I still had not like talked to Robert really, and like he and I just were not, we weren't vibing for prom, to be honest. Where the Dave & Buster's was at was closer to Alicia's house than it was to mine. So she was like, you know what, I'm just gonna have my dad pick me up from here. That way he doesn't have to go all the way to her parents' house to pick me up. We ended up texting her dad to ask him to pick her up there because it was literally like 5 minutes away from her house. And her dad showed up, we said bye, and like, you know, we had such a good time or whatever, and Alicia took off and she went home, right? It's just me, Robert, Will, and Sandra. We all got back into his mom's SUV. We're getting into the SUV, Robert opened the door for me, and when he opened the door, he grabbed the handle, slid the first row of seats up, and he like ushered me into the back seat. Like, that's where we're sitting. This was like the only point all night that he had even like given me any sort of attention. So I was like, what the hell? So he's like being all gentlemanly and like leads me into the very back of the SUV, right? I'm sitting way in the back with Robert, and his mom takes off and she starts playing music, and we take off. First stop was gonna be my house, obviously, so that like they could make sure that I wasn't late. And so he puts his arm around me, and we're like dancing or whatever, and I'm finally like getting along with my boyfriend and having fun at the very tail end of prom. And then out of nowhere, Robert kisses me. He and I like start making out. He starts being all over me and just like kissing me and like hugging me and dancing, and like this whole completely different person than what he was at prom, okay? Just feel his hand on my leg, and I was like, okay. I start feeling him slowly inching his hand up, and like he was like talking to Will or something, and like not really putting a whole lot of attention on what he was doing, but he was still like, his hand was still moving upwards. When I show you guys my prom picture, you guys will see that my dress was like right above my knee. So it wasn't like this long dress. So when he started putting his hand up my thigh, it started raising my dress. Keep in mind, Robert and I had not taken that step in our relationship yet, and it would be a very long time before we even did. I would get super uncomfortable with stuff like that. So I was like trying to stay calm and like not freak out. And so, you know, he starts like, his hand starts traveling up my leg. I grab the bottom of my dress and like I pull it down, and like I move his hand, and I start whispering to him, and I'm like, what are you doing? And I'm like, stop. And so he was like, what? And like he starts like trying to play and like kiss me, and he's like, I'm just getting a little feel. And I was like, no. And you know, I'm like trying not to freak out. I'm like low-key freaking out because like I get very weird with shit like that. But then again, in my mind, I was like, oh my god, this is his senior prom. Of course, like guys want some sort of action usually for on their prom night. And so like I was like, okay, like don't freak out, like don't, you know, be a Debbie Downer, like don't be a prude or whatever. So I was like, no, you know, so I didn't want to like go off and be like, stop, and like, you know, get on his ass, but I just wanted him to like not. I still wanted to like, you know, make out with my boyfriend and have a good time. I just didn't want to kill it by like being weird, but I just wasn't comfortable with what the hell was going on. We're doing this back and forth thing where like he keeps trying to go up my thigh, and I keep like, no, Dad, don't do that. And like, you know, trying to just be very nonchalant about it because number one, you know, I don't want to embarrass him in front of his best friend and his girl. I don't want to embarrass him in front of his mom and like let his mom know what he's doing or whatever. And I just felt like I needed to keep it as low key as possible because I felt like I was weird for not wanting to like do something like that with my boyfriend for prom night. And you guys, this boy, he like whispered into my ear and he was like, come on babe, he was like, let me just finger you a little bit. Guys, he said that and I don't know what it was, but like I freaked out and I was like, oh my god, my heart started beating so fast. Of all places, you decide to try some shit like this in the back of your mom's car and your mom is literally right there. Like, what the hell? You guys, I started panicking. So for most of my life, I've had hypoglycemia and my blood sugar tends to drop, and when that happens, I passed out. And when I was a teenager, it was really, really bad. It didn't improve until I was like 22, 23 years old, but you guys, I used to pass out all the time. I used to pass out at school, I used to pass out at home, I used to pass out at church. Just like my blood sugar would just drop out of nowhere, right? And so I had this unbelievably like embarrassing pattern of passing out at the most ridiculous times, right, when my blood sugar would drop. And Robert had seen me pass out like more times than I could count. I wasn't comfortable with what was going on. I didn't want to fight with him. I didn't want to embarrass him and start fighting with him about like, don't touch me like that in front of his friend or in front of his mom. And like, I just felt I panicked, you guys. Like, honestly, I just panicked and I didn't know what else to do. So my ass just, this was like literally the one and only time in my entire life, hear me when I say this, in my entire life, that I pretended to pass out just to make it stop. If he knew that I passed out, that he would stop, because obviously you have to be a special kind of douche to be sitting there touching on a girl that passed out, right? Sure enough, Robert stops and he's like, babe, and like I won't say anything to him because like, you know, I'm pretending to be passed out. All of a sudden he goes, shit, because like I said, I had passed out so many times before, like at school and stuff. It was really, really embarrassing. It would happen all the time. So he just was like, oh my god, this is happening again. So like I let like a minute pass and I'm like silent and I'm just laid out, right? And finally I pretend to come to and I'm like, oh my god, what happened? And so I'm like, oh man, what happened or whatever. And he just kind of sat there and he was like, you passed out. And I was like, really? I was like, I'm so sorry. You guys, like, I'm not proud of it, but I felt like that was the only way out of that situation without embarrassing either one of us. Like, fast forward like 2 minutes and we finally get to my mom's house and Robert is like so annoyed. I can tell like he's just like over it. And I remember he was just like very like standoffish and he was like, yeah, I'll text you later. And I was like, okay. And immediately I just felt, I don't know why, I just felt like I was in the wrong. For some reason, I felt so embarrassed and like I was not what he needed me to be or what he wanted me to be in that moment, and I was just very disappointed. I don't know why. I actually made it home like 10-15 minutes early and my mom was so excited to see me and she's like, hey, how'd it go? Oh my god, did you have fun? And like, you guys, I was just so defeated and I just felt so, I don't know, like sad. Like I was just like, as a whole, like the whole day in my prom experience really, really sucked. There were just moments during that evening that were amazing with my best friend, but like as a whole, it was just a mess and I wasn't happy and I just was very sad and embarrassed, and for some reason I was ashamed. I got frustrated with myself, like, why weren't you ready? Like, why couldn't you just like be normal, stupid? Like, why, you know, why did you have to make such a big deal out of like what people do? Like, this is just what people do, this is what teenagers do, and like you need to get over it. If I were to be the person that I am now back then, I would have had no problem being like, stop, like what did I just say? Don't do that. I'm not ready. I'm not about to do this in the back of your mom's car. Stop it. I was more worried about embarrassing him in front of his best friend and his mom than I was about my own feelings, and like it caused me to panic and do something that I had never done before, which is like pretend to pass out just to get out of that situation. And then my boyfriend was mad at me because of it. And I ended up taking a shower and crying and just like, I did not. Prom sucked ass. fast for me. Really, it really did. This is why I was like so embarrassed to even tell this story. Moral of the story is number one, never go to prom with somebody that doesn't truly make you happy, because I regret that so much. I regret that I went with Robert in the first place. Number two, if you ever feel like you're not ready to do something, it doesn't matter what everyone else is doing. It doesn't matter what everybody else is like okay with. It doesn't matter, like, it really doesn't matter. It's about you and like what it is that you're comfortable with. And if you're not comfortable with it, be true to that. Because I wish I would have been. I wish I would have had the confidence enough to be like, I said no. And I said no because I wanted to say no. I don't care what everybody else is doing. I don't care what you want. Out of desperation to like make it stop, I did something that I wasn't comfortable doing, which was like pretending to pass out, you know, like that's not cool either. Moral of the story, do whatever it is that you want to do for your prom. It is your experience, it is your memory, and if you don't do it the way that you want to do it, no matter what everyone else is doing, no matter what everyone else wants you to do, you will regret it. Take it from me, you will regret it. That is it for the second part of my prom story. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Now, as promised, and what you guys have all been waiting for, is my ridiculous, terrible prom photo. So brace yourself. This is my prom photo. Okay, so I am petty as fuck, and I put a booty on his face, okay? And you guys can also see the yellow rose that I talked about, the single yellow rose, which by the way means friendship. So you guys see the little headband I was talking about. I know! Don't I look like 13 years old? I feel like I look prepubescent in this photo, but I was actually 17 years old. This is my cringy prom photo, and this was not a fun time. So there you have it, you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this story time. If you did, please don't forget to give me a huge thumbs up. Also, if you're not subscribed to my channel, please make sure you hit that huge subscribe button so you can be a part of my ever-growing Glamazon family. And don't forget to hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on any new videos. I do have an Ask Nikki coming out this coming Monday. I'm trying to catch up with everything, but as long as I'm not late for story time, I know I'm good. But anyways, that is it for today's story time. Thank you guys so much for coming to chill with me and just loving me and supporting me all the time and just being my ride or dies. I love you guys so much, and I will see you guys very soon in my next video. Peace out.